Hello everyone, we are Team Datanauts. For this challenge, we are provided with the EEG data from 40 participants. Our first problem is to predict bilingualism, and the second problem is trying to detect the important brain regions in language processing. We will first do some visualizations to gain insights. We compare the EEG signals from unilingual and bilingual individuals, focusing on frontal lobe activity first. Unilinguals show a flatter response, indicating less efficient processing, while bilinguals display a strong peak between 150 to 220 milliseconds, suggesting faster and more efficient processing. Then we compare individuals' EEG data from other electrodes. In unilinguals, the scattered activity between 7 to 800 milliseconds indicates variable cognitive strategies and engagement. In bilinguals, the robust and coherent peak between 150 to 250 milliseconds suggests enhanced neural efficiency in early language processing. We can find that unilinguals and bilinguals actually have different brain activity patterns when processing language information. But how can we build a model on this? This is a typical classification problem, and we propose a deep learning solution for this. This model processes EEG data through a deep learning pipeline to classify bilingual language proficiency. It combines convolutional layers for spatial features and an LSTM layer for temporal patterns, with an integrated gradients highlighting key electrodes. The model aims to distinguish bilingualism as well as provide insights into important brain regions in language processing. Our architecture combines CNN and LSTM layers to analyze EEG data, assuming bilingual status impacts reaction to all the target words. CNN captures spatial brain activity across electrodes, while LSTM identifies temporal dynamics in EEG data. The combination of the two kinds of layers can effectively learn the patterns in the data. We also assume the model is trained on artifact-free EEG signals, minimizing random errors to ensure reliable analysis. Our first step is data preprocessing. We filter the data to retain only relevant language pairs for each bilingual group and assign labels based on participant IDs from the metadata. And the next step, we prepare 8083 EEG samples, each as a matrix with a binary label. And then we transform the data into proper format and ensure they are ready for input into the neural network. Our model's convolutional layers progressively extract features from raw EEG signals, with Conv layer 1 capturing local temporal details, Conv layer 2 identifying complex patterns, and Conv layer 3 focusing on high-level abstractions. This prepares the data for the LSTM layer to capture broader temporal dependencies. The bidirectional LSTM layer captures temporal dependencies across EEG time series data, processing information both forward and backward to understand context around each time step. This enhances the model's ability to learn sequence patterns relevant to language processing. Then we build the fully connected layers to refine the extracted features for final classification. We use two fully connected layers to get to binary classification and introduce a dropout layer between them to prevent overfitting. After getting the predicted results, we use integrated gradients to help explain model predictions by quantifying each input feature's contribution to the output. IG can identify the most influential electrodes for different predictions, providing insights into the relevant brain regions in language processing. Let's evaluate our model performance then. The training loss and validation accuracy curve shows a consistent decline in training loss and stable high validation accuracy, indicating effective learning. The confusion matrix reveals a good classification outcome, and the model is reliable in distinguishing between classes, even if the data is obviously imbalanced. However, if we focus on the 300 to 500 milliseconds window to let the model learn the N400 effect, the model performance slightly reduces compared to the full time range, as it loses information outside this narrower time frame. So we will continue to evaluate the whole sequence model. The whole sequence model achieved stronger performance with 94 accuracy, 96% F1 score for class 0, and 88 for class 1, demonstrating balanced effectiveness across classes. Also, the model achieved strong performance with an MCC score of 84.3 and Cohen kappa of 84.2, indicating very high reliability despite data imbalance. But the higher log loss suffers from this imbalance, suggesting potential model improvement. In addition, the model demonstrates strong performance with ROC-AUC of 0.97 and a PR-AUC of 0.94. Both indicate high accuracy and reliability in distinguishing between classes. We also predict French and German bilingualism using the same model. These curves show that the model is effective at both French and German. And this slide presents our final exciting results of the using integrated gradients to analyze electrode contributions across the entire time sequence. The bar charts on the left illustrate each electrode's average impact for class 0 and 1. Red points on the scalp map indicate the most impactful electrodes for model predictions, and these significant electrodes are concentrated in regions such as the left frontal lobe, right parietal, and right posterior temporal lobes, which may be influential for relevant language processing tasks. I'll point out that these findings align very well with multiple research papers, which highlight these areas' roles in syntactic and semantic language processing. Then we continue to use the IG analysis focused on the N400 effect. The colored points here indicate key regions for processing during this time frame. This slide compares the model's findings with conventional knowledge about the N400 effect. It highlights that while the N400 is typically strongest in central parietal regions, the model also identifies frontal electrodes and like visual processing regions as significant for predicting bilingualism. These additional areas may provide auxiliary support for processing complex or incongruent semantic information. So here are some future steps. We can improve usability by creating a better user interface, and we can apply multi-label classification. We can develop algorithms to deal with imbalance, and we can conduct more hyperparameter tuning, as well as making an API for cognitive scientists to use this model. Finally, I would like to thank Sandia National Lab for giving us this excellent opportunity to apply our knowledge to real-life problems. I appreciate it so much.